So to introduce myself, my name's Emma Hobson. I'm from Emma Hobson Consulting. I have been in the industry, it feels like forever, very, very long time, and grown from the early days where we had no such thing as social media. We had no such things as mobile phones, apart, well, we do, but they were like the size of bricks, where expertise was about everything. And, you really just built, I think, a reputation on your expertise and sort of through word of mouth and the people who knew you. Today, we are looking at something completely different. Today, when we look at the area that we're all working in, there's a massive difference between how someone knows us and how we get our name out there and how we're branded and how we're recognized for what we do. When we think about, we might be the best qualified people in the world, but really how many people know us? How many people out there can, outside your four walls of your business and your clientele, actually say, yes, I know that person. Yes, I know that brand. I know that business. So when we take a look at today's presentation, it really is just about being in today's world and how important it is to have influence, how important that is for new client acquisition, how important that is actually in building trust with a business out there when we are completely new. So even though you might have spent years training and you've got masses of qualifications, it certainly doesn't mean that you're known to be the best. There are a lot of people out there who have built brands, built businesses on a lot less qualifications and a lot less experience. So that's what we're going to take a look at today, really what it is about building influence so it grows your future. So when we take a look at that, when we look at sort of the word visibility, visibility really is your new commodity. It is what makes you really, really credible. It is the currency at which everybody is discussing. It's the currency at which you get noticed. It is the currency that everybody discusses. And so it's what we are going to talk about today. Let me just move my notes a little bit. And I shall just find that. Got it? Fantastic. Okay. So believe it or not, and I found this quite staggering when you think about it, 53% of people research their treatment center, research about the business itself online with Google, way before they do anything else. It's not really the drive past. They might notice somebody if you have street visibility, but they usually go straight onto Google and find out, put the business name in, or let's try and find you in a business area. And then they want to look at that through that Google search, it will take them to various links. And it's what is often on those links out there, what you have been, how active you are with your messaging out there, that will determine of that 53%, you've only got about 20 seconds to probably grab the person's attention. And in that 20 seconds, what on Google do they find about you? What do they research? Where do they see that you have influence? Where do they see what they believe is now your credibility? And so I don't know how many of you have Googled yourself in the last week, but if you haven't, I suggest you do it regularly. And even honestly, every couple of weeks, Google what you find. One, you want to be able to find yourself. that is important. But two, not only do you need to find yourself, you also need to be able to take a look at that and say, okay, well, what's it saying about me? What links? Can they find me on LinkedIn? What does it say about my social media? What other links? Do I come up in other people's referrals and websites and different links that sort of cross-navigate who we are and what we are doing? So that's the first thing. Take a look at your Google presence and do an audit of yourself. And are you happy with what you have found? Then the next thing I think you need to take a look at after you've Googled yourself, and as I said, please do it this week, that's some homework for you, is who has the spotlight? When you think about it, credibility is your entry ticket. So all your qualifications, all the hard work, the experience you've had in the treatment room, that's your entry ticket. It is not your destination anymore. Just being an expert in what you do in the confines of your business is not sufficient to grow a business these days, because that's not where the new clients are looking or what they're looking for, or how you build yourself to be bigger than outside your four walls. So credibility, yes, you have to have credibility. Absolutely. That's your foundation. That's your floor. That's your position on the floor. That means, yeah, I'm qualified. I know my stuff. Influence, however, is completely different. Influence says, I stand for something. My business stands for something. My business has a positioning. I stand as a person of authority in this area. And the reason why I do that, I can speak on this, I say on that, I have commentary on how I believe we are in the industry. Influence is literally, you think about it, if credibility is your floor, influence is your ceiling. And the goal is that you build up and up your credibility, and you build your influence of where you are seen, what you are saying, where you show up, and that rises you up to where you want to be. And that rises you and puts you in a position of influence. And that really is about putting your business under the spotlight. So shifting from credibility to influence, how do you do that? Well, 3 easy ways I'm going to share with you, and I'd like you to note all of these ways. None of them require an extra qualification. You don't have to go away and be qualified to do these things. It really is just a matter of taking a look and saying, okay, I can do this. One, oops, excuse me. Let me just shrink that again. One is, very simply, is to have a very clear point of view. And I have previously mentioned very quickly, a clear point of view is that you need to stand for something. And a clear point of view is that you also have a very strong understanding of what your business vision is, what your mission is with your business, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, a little bit more. And you have a lot of us, especially when we've got what I call our tribal members together, we can speak about moaning a little bit, I have to say, or commenting on things that we're unhappy with in our industry, things that we get irritated by, that maybe on social media that we know are falsehoods. And it means that when you see that those things, you actually stand up and have an opinion on them rather than being quiet and silent. If you see things that you know are untrue with regard to maybe things that, on social media are made up, be it on what a machine can do, what an ingredient does, etc., etc. It is important to be able to show people that you're educated and you have a point of view and you're happy to share that. The second one is to commit a commitment to be consistent with your visibility. And that is something I have been guilty of when I get very busy with work, and we can all be culprit to this. And that is that you may have a burst and a flurry where you put things on your social media. You might write an article for LinkedIn. You might do things on your social media pages. You might have just done a blog. You might be doing something and you're quite active because you've got a bit of spare time. But the next few weeks you're busy and you don't comment on anything. You don't post anything. You don't write anything if that's what you've been doing. And so what you're doing on social media is like a push me, pull me. It's a back forward. And people won't follow you. People need to see a consistent message from you. So that commentary that you have, that presence and visibility you have has to be constant. And it means that you need to diarize it. It needs to be in your marketing plan. It needs to be in your to-do diary, that is something that is critical to be able to make sure you've got that influence and your visibility. The third thing, of course, is the willingness to lead before you feel completely ready. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So we'll get back to that. So let me just move my slide. When we take a look at, again, talking about this influence, I've talked about standing for something and also having a definitive voice. Specialists are authorities and not generalists. So you may have a service menu that is quite extensive. You may offer various services. However, even though you may have those services that you offer on your menu, what is it that you specialize in? What is your differentiator? What makes you stand out from a crowd? What services or main service do you provide, or services around a subject group of people, be it a group of client demographic, do you serve, that you know that that's what your business is for? For example, it could be that obviously, rather than just saying, I'm a specialist in skin, that's not good enough anymore. It could be that I'm the go-to clinic for women navigating hormonal skin challenges in their 40s. That would be a good differentiator. And then what you would do is you would build everything around that. So you choose what it is, maybe, as I've said, age-forward skin health. And if that's the case for women in their 40s, you would make sure you look at your website, your social content, your media pictures, your consultation, all of your language, your pricing, all around that thing. We don't price compared to what our competitors do. We price according to what we offer and the influence also. The more influence you have and visibility you have, the more it substantiates your pricing model. So it becomes, you have a clear, compelling, and very magnetic way of putting out there your messaging, your marketing, your voice. And so what you put out is what you get back. You have a really good target market that you are drawing to your business. One way I recommend that you can look at that is that you look at branding your own treatment or a couple of treatments. Sure, you can have your different brands treatments, but I would say have a signature treatment that is your business treatment, that's in your name, or you've created a name that's unique to you, that it's your intellectual property that you have created. For example, here you would have created a treatment for women navigating hormonal challenges in their 40s. You will have created a specific bespoke treatment just for that, given it a brand name, and that's what you are out there marketing. Those treatments, those services around that, the products again that you recommend for clients. And this is going to be mirrored through your business. So, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it's the mirroring of this and your consistent messaging that's also important. So you've got to stop basically whispering and start being louder. And you've really got to sort of lead in your space and not whisper in your space. So if you've got no visible proof of your expertise, then, for example, that would be undercharging, which I've just spoken about. We don't charge according to competition. You charge according to what you do, your brand, your voice, and your level of influence. No clear evidence of you being seen, which I've spoken about. Never posting opinions, which I've also spoken about. Hiding behind your product brand's position and voice. Now, sometimes I see this quite a bit. It is when you look at someone's social media, it is just photographs of product images that the brand have given you. Yes, use those. Of course, you can use those in across your platform, but that's the brand's voice. Where is your voice in that as well? We have to see your face, your face. People buy from people. We need to see your face there. We need to hear your story, your voice, your points of view on those social media posts as well. And of course, the brands you choose go with your voice of why you have chosen those. If you're going to put brand pictures up, explain to people why you chose that brand and what it's going to do for example, women in their hormonal 40s who are going through many skin changes. And everything circulates around your positioning. So put a face on your business. Here is a common fact. It's called the messy middle. Quite a lot of people have heard of the messy middle. And the messy middle really is, a lot of times people say, oh, they're not comfortable on writing blogs, or they're not very good at doing podcasts, or they're not very good at doing their own branded social posts. First of all, I would also say if you need help, get a marketing support VA, a virtual assistant consultant can help you. A lot of social media can help you. You've got to be careful though with social media that you are really clear with your brand voice, because they can change it and then that can confuse people. So remember, people buy from people. So it has to be your voice and I'm trying to think of the word. It has to be your authenticity that comes through in that voice. The messy middle means that, you should be doing these things, but you keep giving yourself all the excuses. Oh, my website's not ready, or I have to do my website upgrade first, whatever the excuse may be. And it's the uncomfortable bit before you make the jump off the precipice into this world. Now you just got to jump. Honestly, I will tell you, the people out there who are the main influencers, they never started off perfect. People don't need perfection, they need real. So don't worry about being perfect. All you need to do is get started. You will get better and better at it as you go along and more skilled. If you have some spare budget, there are professionals that help you do this, but just do it. There's never always, you would say, what's the right time? Now is the right time if you're not doing it. Now is the time to improve what you're doing. Now is the time to start leading and not whispering in this space. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay not to be perfect, but just do it is sort of my advice to you. So, as I say, we rarely feel fully ready, but lead anyway. So your 3 steps to your own position, I would recommend that you do this as homework this week. In fact, I would ask you very much to do it as homework this week. I think 1 is refine your 1-sentence authority statement. If you can't say in 1 sentence and articulate clearly who you are and what you stand for, then you haven't got it right yet. You should be able in a sentence to say who you are, who you treat, and why you're doing it. So for example, I am so-and-so expert who helps specific client. These clients, for example, I've said about women in their 40s doing hormonal changes, achieve specific outcome. and the outcome is to overcome their challenges, their unique challenges, as the skin transitions through to the next stage of a female's life. Whatever it may be, that needs to be your one sentence. Then you audit your website, you audit your social bio, you audit your email signature, and does that position statement appear in every single piece? It should be. It should be the tag on your email. It should be your positioning on all of your socials. It has to be a big, bold statement on your website. And everything you say, every time you're interviewed, every time you're writing something, posting something, you always make sure that that one statement is always in there. And remember, I have talked about this earlier, identify the one industry myth that you think is a misconception, which you publicly disagree with, and start making it maybe your signature point. There are an awful lot of myths about women's hormonal health and women in their 40s, some absolute, I have to say, real pieces of nonsense out there. If you look on social media about what some women should be doing to balance their hormones and what they should be using on their skin, it can be quite scary. And so they're the pieces you stand up and say, do not let, this has got no substantiation. It annoys me when this happens. This is what's truly happening in the skin. This is what you should be doing. And that's, for example, a stance that you could use. So easy 3 steps this week, and make sure that you have got that solidified and tacked down nice and tight. And then my next suggestion is collaboration. Collaborate consistently and strategically. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. And there are so many good industry colleagues that we can collaborate with. We've got brilliant dermatologists around us, some really great GPs now that support. We struggled in the past with GPs that perhaps weren't into our philosophy, and they thought we were just putting pretty cream and makeup on and nails on people, and they suggested soap and water sometimes in the old days. Think, oh, good grief me, no. But now GPs are also educated on skin health, a lot more than they were. So, and there are a lot out there that support and do collabs. You've got naturopaths, nutritionalists, you've got your personal trainers. Now, these are the types of people to really, really work and collaborate with. And, when you follow them on your social, they follow you, you tag them on articles and get them to tag you. Influence is built through really generous sharing of knowledge. You can help them and put some things out there to support them with their clients and patients, and vice versa, that they can help you. Their credibility transfers to you. Their audience then becomes your audience. Your audience then becomes their audience. It's a two-way street. And remember, always tag their business as a complementary business, so that they see there's this lovely collaboration between you and support of their business as much as they support you. Then I'd ask yourself, I guess, if you are a writer or you are a talker or a visual person. And with that, I think you've got to know your format. And that means when you're looking at your format, if you love to write and that's your medium, think about being more influential in blogs, on LinkedIn, writing newsletters. That would be the majority of your communication form. If you are a talker, then that would be seeing if you can do podcasts and videos, and even getting yourself on the radio. Anything that that you're a good communicator. If you're a visual person, well, that's obviously very much like Instagram. Instagram is a very visual medium, obviously because it's very photo based. And so, the different things like that, find what you feel really strong and comfortable with and lead with that. Sure, you still need to be on Instagram, but on Instagram, you tag to something that you've written. Lead where you feel the strongest. And when it comes more naturally and comfortably, you'll feel more confident. So when you look at an authoritarian voice, there are many different ways that you can do that. And they say education, is the new sales tool. And I believe that 100%. Education builds influence, especially if you're openly educating people out there. So take a look and think, well, how can I educate and what are the things that I could do? Well, obviously, you can build your education through your Google presence as being a thought leader. You can build, for example, you can write articles, usually around the 8 to 1200 word educational pieces about the size that you're wanting. And that can be regularly answering client questions. How much does laser really cost? What skin treatments don't work? And it's often you can find out from Google Analytics what most people are asking most commonly, the common questions, and then write those answers and how they relate to you, your business, your positioning, and where you stand. You could have a learning hub or like a skin school if you wanted to do on your own website, where you've got all your educational content, which is like your expertise at a glance. You can run mini training events, workshops. You can do online Zoom coaching. That was really, really popular during COVID when we were all literally only on Zoom. And a lot of clients absolutely loved having these Zoom and coaching lessons. People were there with their skincare products in front of their screens, like having a Zoom party. Now you can do it in person, but equally you can still do it online. And some things make me sad about the skills that we acquired because we had to pivot during COVID. And a lot of those we've abandoned. And things like dropping products off to clients' homes. And I think that some of them we shouldn't have just abandoned and gone back to the old way of work. Anyhow, I shall not go into that right now. So don't forget to enable your Google reviews, respond professionally to every review. Every single one needs a response, good and bad. And of course, we love the ones that are a little bit pushy because that means that we are addressing the concerns front on and we're not afraid to stand up for our business and what we stand for. So get yourself noticed. Get yourself noticed. And that means you've got to get out there. That's what I said, outside the four walls of your business. When was the last time you were seen at community events? You have to go to community events. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be seen as a supporter in your local community. Get a cause to follow in your local community. Maybe it's a local school. Maybe it's a local women's shelter. Maybe it's a local women's group over 40 that would marry with your business philosophy, if that was the one that you were going for. So find things that you're passionate about, but you are proactively seen out there to supporting. Then think about your local media. We often forget, we think, oh no, they will never want to hear from us. They're always looking for content. Radio, local print and news and websites. Really, really work your local media. Get to know your local jockey, your jockeys on the radio, the presenters, get to know your reporters, etc. Enter awards. This is something that I don't believe businesses do enough. Yes, it takes some effort to enter award, but the rewards are huge. And if you're going to enter award, make sure your submission is accurate and detailed. And please, I often judge awards. Please don't get AI to write it. You can see it in a millisecond. And anybody who writes with AI never gets a usually high mark from me because it's like, don't actually think this was written by this person. So enter your awards. And those awards can be our industry awards. They can be community awards, local business awards. Just enter awards. And again, that will get you out there. And when you've won the award or you're a finalist for an award, you put it out there on your social media, you put it out on your websites. You may, if you've won an award, put it also down at the bottom of your email logos. It's everywhere when you have been nominated for or won an award. Create a speaker profile and a portfolio. Think about speaking at industry events. Start small. There are small industry events too, but think about doing that. Thinking about running your own events and start doing community events, maybe on skin. And you can collab with doctors. I know someone recently and they had, it was down in Victoria, and they collab with a naturopath, a GP, and a trainer. And they did this whole thing on fitness and skin health and skin lessons. And they had just under 900, I think they had 960 people, I remember reading, that attended this event because everybody brought their customers. Wow, what a collab, what an event, and it supported the community. So think about seeing if you can do something like that. Look at your Chamber of Commerce, for example, or your women in business networks around you. They're all the places you can get experience. If you're not very confident in speaking, think about doing a course with Toastmasters. They are absolutely brilliant, and it's the best way I know to learn how to put a small speech together and speak confidently. Remember, the fastest path to influence is to borrow other people's audiences by being a guest, a contributor, or a collaborator. So your expertise deserves a bigger stage. So this week, not next week, not next month, a bit more homework. There's a lot to do this week. I'll give you maybe 10 days if you haven't got too much time, but no more than 10 days of all this homework. Identify influential actions. Start to think about tag a complementary local business, apply for an award, submit an article or pitch, offer to speak at an event, launch a mini workshop, name your methodology and teach it. Choose one. Don't say choose them all. Choose one thing that you're going to do. Don't wait for perfection, okay? Don't wait for permission from somebody else to give you that you're good enough. Just do it. Remember, the industry needs your voice now, okay? Not when you're ready, right now. So, authority compresses the sales cycle. This is the commercial aspect and the benefit of all of this. A client who finds you through genuine influence already arrives convinced. They're convinced. Everything you put out there, you don't have to convince them now about who you are and what you're doing. They know it. That's why they drove past 3 other businesses to find you. That's what socials does. That's why you don't attract people who are price conscious. You attract people who are your target market, because what you put out there and the influence prevents all of that. It stops that people searching you for price. They pass the other 3 businesses who may all be cheaper, but they haven't got the leadership position and the voice and the authority that you have, that they feel is out there. You've convinced them. All you have to do when they come through the door is confirm what they already believe. So, in closing, there is a big room out there waiting. It's a big room. In that room, there are loads of clients waiting, your target market. In that room, there are other industry leaders waiting for you to join them and speak with them. In that room, there are people who are wanting to collaborate with you. In that room is everything and everyone you need to grow your business with influence. It's there, it's waiting. It needs in that room, your room, but in those rooms, it needs so many more people in our industry with the credibility to walk into the room of influence. Clients need it, our industry needs it. We need the people who speak with authenticity and a professional qualified voice to go into those rooms. All you have to do is just walk into it. So thank you very much. As I said, I'm Emma Hobson from Emma Hobson Consulting. If you want to find me, you'll find me on Emma Hobson Consulting on LinkedIn. I consult directly to distributor brands and businesses. So I have been in the industry a very long time, however, know an awful lot about the skin treatment centers and the business and what it takes to run one. So if you have any questions that I can help you with, just reach out and I will be delighted to do so. I'd like to thank very much Vital Plus for inviting me this evening to speak. And I hope anyone who attended or will be listening to this in the future via a recording that you enjoyed the presentation, but more importantly, you found it valuable and I've given you tools to be able that really will help you grow your business. So thank you very much. Have a good rest of the evening and I wish you all the success.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Emma. But before you go,
yes.
Can I run through a few things with you? Is
yes,
that okay?
Of course you may.
First of all, I really enjoyed this presentation. There was so many great ideas. I imagine myself as a salon owner, and you know that part where you say I am what industry, and I was sort of thinking, well, you know, if I was a genetic salon, you could say, and I wanted to ask you, is it too general, maybe, if I said I am the skin nutritionist expert? So maybe that's too broad of a definition, but I just thought I'd put that out there. Who helps women with skin that shows deficiencies to empower a glowing, radiant, full of vitality skin. For example, would that be too general, or would you want to be more specific? Like
I think it's a good starting point. I would tidy it up a bit. It is a little bit, but absolutely you're on the right track.
So could you say I'm a skin expert after menopause, or I'm an expert on pigmentation, or elasticity and collagen is my specialty, or wrinkles is my specialty. Puffy and dark eyes, circles could be another one. The skin microbiome and the skin barrier expert could use. All of these could be.
All of those.
And when I was thinking of that, I was thinking, oh, it's scary because I'm eliminating, or I'm not eliminating, but maybe people think that I don't treat acne, and I might. Be very good.
I think that what it does is it claims you as an authority in an area, but what doesn't attract people these days is a jack of all trades.
Yes, I agree. I agree totally. Yeah.
And to have a voice out there, a really strong one, people don't get it doesn't sink in well. It doesn't sit with someone outside of our world to say, well, you know, I'm an expert in acne, but I'm also an expert in teen skin. I'm also an expert in menopausal skin. I'm also an expert in, because people go, Now, if you have a very, very good and influential following, a large influential voice, people will often say, well, I know that you specialize in this area, because everybody wants to come and, you know, you're on the lips and everybody's talking about you. Do you also, I have this, but do you also look after that? And you say, yes, of course we do. But it's not your leading message.
I think it's a very, very good point you made. Specialist, not generalist. I think it's a great idea. And just to follow up on one of the points you made about, you know, being authentic. And I thought, yeah, that's so true, because you said just do it. You know, you don't need to be perfect, and authenticity is rarely perfect. It's often, you know, it's raw. it's real. So there's no, it can't, when it's perfect, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would encourage everyone to just, jump in and do it, and you'll master things as you go along. So
Yeah.
definitely agree with that. And another thing that I wanted to just reinforce is when you said, about being consistent with your marketing, for example, on social media. And it made me think of the quote that's on Lena's desk. And it says, a river cuts through a rock not because of its power, but because of its consistency. And it's so true. It's just that constant flow, a regular flow of doing those tasks. So great presentation. Thank you so much. I got so much out of that. If anybody has any question, please don't hesitate now, or contact Emma when you can just talk with her on one-on-one. Anybody, any questions? No, I think you've covered everything. So thank you, and
My pleasure.
have a wonderful evening. And thank you, everybody, for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Visit our website to claim your free trial pack or schedule a consultation or in-salon demonstration.